Hi guys and welcome back to Crypto Chester. I'm here today to give you a Bitcoin update. We're going to be starting off with Bitcoin here on the short-term time frame, moving through to the mid-term, and then moving through to the long-term, finishing off the video. A massive shout out to the CC Gang community in Telegram. If you guys did want to join the community, the link is in the description. But without further ado, let's get straight into the charts. As you can see here, guys, we've started ranging here for Bitcoin. We've started ranging in this area, these two big giant blue box zones. That's pretty much where the range is at this point in time. You can see the resistance zones at the top side here. We're not quite on that zone just yet. We did bounce it literally a couple of hours ago now. We did bounce up to that area and then came tumbling back down. But at the moment, the range that we're playing with is between this $26,300 and of course this level of support at $25,700. Right now we are sat in the minx of a descending triangle, guys. Descending triangle, you can see the downward sloping resistance line looking something along the lines of this, and you can see the resistance on the top side, which we have tapped, as I just said a few hours ago. We did tap that and we did see the resistance playing out pretty strongly around a 200 buck move to the downside there. Now, where do we think Bitcoin is going to be going from here? We are still in this chart pattern. These chart patterns, these descending triangles tend to usually break to the downside, okay? They tend to usually break to the downside. So what are we sort of looking for here? We're looking for a potential position, a potential short if we see a break out of this chart pattern, okay? And that is going to be somewhere. It's a bit sticky because this blue box here, guys, you can see we do have support pretty much across this whole area, and when we do dump below it, it's pretty violent. We see massive spikes in the volume, and this it's pretty risky trading these, guys. It's pretty risky, and you can see how fast it does dump in these areas. So if we are going to be looking for a short, we're going to have to really get pretty good sniper entries here and basically see what we can get. If we are going to be going for some sort of measure move down inside of that range, it could be something along the lines of this. And in terms of a percentage prediction for this, it's going to be worth around 1.36%. Not too crazy, but if you are going to be leveraging your positions, then it's obviously going to be a lot more. So that's sort of what I would be looking for if I am going to be shorting this market. Don't really like the idea of trading this right now. It is a bit too boring and a bit too volatile. No one really knows where Bitcoin is going right now, considering we have seen this humongous dump to the downside, most recently losing 29k and coming right back down to this 26, 25 sort of area. Now, let's bring in some indicators, guys, and let's see if we can get a bit more of a bias on where we think Bitcoin is going to be going, because just looking at chart patterns and just looking at support and resistance isn't enough all the time, okay? So let's see what we've got here. One thing I did want to touch on very quickly was the fact that we bounced quite violently off the volume-weighted ATR band, guys. Okay, this is the volume-weighted average true range. We bounced quite violently off this area, and that was the 30-minute and 60-minute volume-weighted ATR band. You can see the support that we did get on that. So that does bring me to our short position that we were just talking about there, guys. If we do actually get a short position out of this descending triangle and out of this disgusting range that we're in right now, then you can see we've got these two volume weighted ATR bands coming up like so, right? We're looking for them to come to this sort of flaccid area and basically act as a very strong level of support if we do dump to the downside here. So what are we going to be using that for? We're going to be using that for take profits, of course. If we're going to be short in this market and we're going to be catching the key levels of support, we want to be taking profit on these areas, okay? I will be going into some take profits in the midterm time frame in a second, but without further ado, let's keep going on some indicators, right? The RSI right now, you can see, guys, we've got a hidden bearish divergence. This is implying that we are going to see some more downside, okay? This is implying we are going to see some more downside and implying that we are going to see some resistance from where we are currently at this point, okay? This resistance could be quite strong, but the levels of support that I would be looking for is going to be around 25,800 and also 25,700. This sort of area is the area to really be watching out for there. The key bounce point in terms of the candle body closed, which we were looking for, which we did look at before, guys, it is that 25,600 area. One thing I did want to touch on as well on the short-term time frame is the EMA ribbon, guys, because we know this bad boy. It's basically a group of moving averages that work together quite well, and you can see what is happening right now with this indicator, okay? The moving averages of the EMA ribbon, they are consolidating into one. When these moving averages come together like they are coming together, it usually means a breakout in the price, okay? It usually means a breakout in the price. Let's see if I can find a quick example of that. You can see very, 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 very skinny, and then boom, big breakout in the price, as you can see from there. And again, very, very skinny, coming together, flipping for a long signal, massive breakout in the price, okay? So this is something that we need to be taking advantage of if we can essentially see this happening. Right now, if these do consolidate and get even closer and do flip for a long signal, am I going to be going long straight away? No, I'm probably not, but it does mean that we are going to see a bit of pressure coming through for Bitcoin in this area. I mean, it might take a bit longer. It might take us to come all the way to this this sort of trend line here and then see a breakout. But what I'm saying here is consolidating moving averages coming together usually mean a breakout in the price, because it means the trend is essentially weak, okay? So it's definitely something to be looking out for there. And right now, guys, we are actually testing the support on these, okay? We are above them. In terms of this massive pump that we did see from this level of support, we are above them, and we are continuously testing this level of support. So if we do break this level to the downside, which is very near the price right now, obviously I'm talking really, really short term here, guys. It is basically 26,000. If we lose 26,000 with a strong hourly candle body close, probably around this area here, then I would expect continuation to the downside, at least to the bottom of this pattern here, and then we can be looking at our potential short position that we were eyeing up at the start of this video. Yeah, at the start of this video. In terms of moving averages and price action channels, let's do the midterm for that, right? That's going to be the 4 hour. So let's jump through to the midterm here on the 4 hour for Bitcoin. You can see the chart pattern has changed. Okay, it has changed to a bearish pennant chart pattern, guys. It's not the most valuable. It's not the most valuable chart pattern right now, because we don't really have that much to go on in terms of touches of a trend line that I would be looking for here. You can see we've got a lovely level of support here. You can see we've got a lovely level of support here. I would like another one to really get the confirmation of this chart pattern. And just what does this chart pattern mean, guys? You know what it means. Hopefully you do. It's a bearish pennant chart pattern. Bearish pennant chart pattern means they tend to usually break to the downside, guys. So it tends to usually mean a continuation chart pattern, which means, unfortunately, more bearish momentum to the downside, which isn't great, okay? Which isn't great. I mean, it will probably bring the price down a bit lower, but I do have some very, very key support catch points. Very, 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 very key support catch points for us to be going through on the longer term time frame. So make sure you stick with me all the way to the end, guys. Now, as you can see, this bearish pennant chart pattern, if we are going to be looking to trade this, it's going to be sort of the same position that we were looking for earlier. The measure move that we could be looking for this is going to be looking something along the lines of this, guys, and this would mean a break of this very strong bounce point which we did see earlier, and that's currently set around 25,700. So what I'm sort of looking for here, if we are going to short Bitcoin, I would be looking for a move to the downside, breaking 26,000, and then basically coming down to the lower side of this chart pattern and testing this level of support, and hopefully finding not a bounce point, a break point. We break that level of support, and then we see the price start dumping down. In terms of an entry for this, I would like 25,700, that sort of area. I would be jumping down to the micro time frames and seeing what sort of entry period I could be getting for that, because as I said, it can get choppy in these waters, and you can see we've got the volume weighted ATR bands coming up as well, and if these bad boys do come up, I'm going to be waiting for a break of them to be entering here on the midterm time frame. So there's quite a few factors that we need to take into consideration there. But that's sort of what I would be looking for here for the midterm time frame here for Bitcoin. Now, I do want to talk about the directional movement index. You guys know I do favor this indicator. I love this indicator. It basically means when we have these crossovers, so you can see the negative crossing with the positive there, the bearish crossing to the upside of the bullish area on the directional movement index there, with the ADX really, really quite high, guys, essentially means that it tells you how strong the trend is going to be. So right now, with the ADX so high, the key points for this indicator, guys, are 20 and 25. If the ADX, which is this pink line here, if that is above 20 and 25 and we get a crossover, sometimes it means that we're about to see a strong trend, okay? So right now, if we see the bullish indicator cross over with the bearish indicator and the ADX is still above 20 and 25, then it's likely that we're going to see a very clean, nice uptrend. Fingers crossed. Doesn't look great on the chart, but that's what the indicator is saying. And remember, guys, no indicator is 100%. We do know that. But one thing that I would like to say right now, we've got the RSI for the midterm time frame. It is in this nice casual uptrend ever since we did see that horrific dump to the downside, which is quite nice to see. So hopefully we will see some more price action when it resumes, okay, when it gets back to that central point on the chart of around 50, okay? So yeah, that's what I would say about the midterm time frame, guys. Short positions coming through if we are to break that 26,700 area. That's sort of what I'm going to be looking for there, because we've got the continuation chart pattern. We would have lost major moving averages here on the EMA ribbon. We would be breaking multiple chart patterns to the downside as well, but the volume weighted ATR bands need to be watched here, guys. They need to be watched around that 25,000 500, 400 area. Moving on to the long-term time frames, guys, because I want to talk to you about the catch points, the really strong areas that we could be looking for a potential support point for Bitcoin. Now, as you can see, I'm zooming out a bit here. As you can see, we've got a Fibonacci retracement drawn in from the all-time high of Bitcoin to the swing low of this bear market, okay? So now, you can see we've got that drawn in, and we haven't quite reached the 0.5 area of the Fibonacci here, guys. You know what that means. You know what that means. If we cross the 0.5 area of the Fibonacci, that's this little bad boy here, that's this line here. If we cross that to the upside, this is the confirmation that we're going to have trend reversal, okay? This is the confirmation that we're likely to see a very nice bull run and the price basically continue in this trend to the upside. Now, have we got there? No. Have we broken it to the upside? No. Is that confirmation that we're going up? No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Actually, what we have done, we tried to get up there and we saw resistance coming through like absolute crazy from this giant blue box zone around 30,000 bucks. We actually crashed right the way down over the course of the last six to 10 weeks, and it's just been a bloodbath, okay? It's just been a bloodbath to the downside, which hasn't been good, and we did lose the Fibonacci retracement of the Fibonacci area of the 0.382, guys, which essentially means, my camera's shaking, which essentially means that it's still looking fairly bearish, and the next level of support that we can be looking for in terms of the Fibonacci retracement is going to be the 0.236, and that, unfortunately, guys, sits all the way down at $22,000 for Bitcoin. Hopefully we don't get there, because if we get there, unfortunately, we would have broke the level of support from the trend line from the all-time high as well, guys. You can see the all-time high is here, and you can see the level of resistance that we have seen previously in the price action coming down off this lovely descending trend line like so. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Now, we did break this to the upside. We did break through, but we didn't actually test the level of support. We're testing it pretty much right now on the weekly chart. So we're testing the level of support on this trend line, and also, well, kind of, maybe not. Maybe slightly. We're just testing that now, and also we're testing the 200 EMA. The 200 EMA we're testing with not that much bullish momentum to the upside either, guys. So the last time that we did test this 200 EMA coming through from here, you can see the momentum was very, very strong. It smashed us right to the upside. But we haven't seen any of that right now. So the areas that I'm looking for, if we are going to be shorting here on the micro time frames, guys, we need to be cautious of the potential bounce points if we're going to be in a short. So the bounce points that I'm looking for is going to be this 200 EMA, and that's going to be 25,700, which does line up perfectly with the potential entry point that we are looking for this bearish pennant chart pattern to have continuation to the downside, okay? So 25,700 is the area to be looking out for there, and that is going to essentially require a weekly candle close on the weekly time frame, right? If we are going to be using that as confirmation, which does happen in like 4 days and 15 hours. So we've got a little while to wait for that, and I think we probably will be out of this chart pattern by then, okay? But we might still just be ranging, guys. We might still just be ranging in the area that we are and that we have been covering, that we did cover at the start of the video, okay? So please don't rule that out either. We could literally just range in this area till the end of the week and then get the candle body close below the 200 and then dump down again, okay? So that is definitely an option to be considering and looking out for there. What I'm really looking for here on the macro, guys, is us not losing this trend line that I was just talking about. If we lose this trend line from the all-time high, then it's pretty bad. The prices that we could be looking for after that, we're going to be referencing the resistance points that we had before, and that was sat around 25,000 multiple times, and that the areas that I'm talking about is here, and that was on roughly a year ago, right? 15th of August last year, and then we've got the 20th of February. This year. These areas were heavy areas of resistance, and if we do lose this trend line, which I was just talking about, guys, we're likely to see us come down and test these areas. Okay, so this area is going to be the, I mean, this is pretty bad drawing, right? This area is going to be the area to be looking out for there. Nice price bounce on the Fibonacci at the 0.236 if we do lose this trend line. Okay, it won't be the end of the world, but it's just not going to be that great considering what we have seen for Bitcoin recently and the momentum to the upside, which we have really been enjoying here. Okay, we have really been enjoying. But yeah, that's going to be my insight into the Bitcoin chart from the short term, the mid term, and the long term. And that's gonna be it from me, guys. I will see you in the Telegram. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Leave me a comment below. Let me know your opinions. I'm intrigued to know what you guys think of the charts. But for now, it's gonna be peace out and goodbye from me, Crypto Chester.